Okay, anybody wants to ask anything, go ahead. Are you the moderator, Anita?
Sure, I can be. Does anyone have a question that they want to start with? Naomi?
I can start, yeah. Hello, Ajahn.
Naomi?
Yeah, hi. Yeah, from Toronto.
Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm doing well, thanks. How are you?
Good. I heard that you've been quite serious with your practice lately.
I've been trying. I was staying at a monastery since December, and I came back at the end of April. And since I got back because of the virus, I haven't been able to work. And I've been meditating as much as I can. And even when I go back to work, I'm going to try to only work maybe 1 or 2 days, hopefully. So my question is actually about, so before when I worked a lot, I had the habit of whenever I felt, you know, sad or something, I would give dana. And so now I have much more time to meditate, and I'm realizing that I can't give dana the way that I used to, otherwise I'll have to work more again. So I'm just wondering, I'm not sure if I'm thinking about it correctly, that maybe I should sort of let go of some of the happiness I get from dana and try to get more happiness from bhavana.
That's right. That's right. You have to move up the ladder. Dana is like kindergarten. When you start, you use dana as a way of making you happy. But as you grow up, you have to switch from dana toward bhavana, meditation practice. But you can still do some dana as you can afford it. If you cannot afford it, then don't worry about it. Just, you know, it's just a step forward. You have passed that step, so you don't have to go look back for that step again. So you should concentrate more on the bhavana meditation practice if you can. But from time to time, if you feel like generosity arises in your mind and you want to share something to somebody, you can always do that. But in a way that doesn't disturb your meditation. I think if dana might have some, if anything more I can use, I usually share with other monks. So you can always have dana on the basis of availability. If you have something spare, something more than you can use, you don't want to keep it, then give it to someone else. But your goal now should be meditation more than dana. Okay, because the result from meditation is a lot more. It's a much more happiness than you will get from dana. The problem is you haven't yet got there yet. If you have experienced true happiness from meditation for once, then you would know that it's the best form of happiness.
Thank you, Ajahn.
Go ahead.
Well, last time I just couldn't get to tell you that I've been listening to all of the answers that you've been giving me for my YouTube questions, and they've been really very helpful for me. So thank you so much.
Yes, I'm happy if I could be of any help to anybody. Okay, keep sending me questions if you have any doubts. Okay, don't hesitate. All right. Anybody else want to ask anything? Twenty-nine participants.
29.
Maybe for you, iPhone. Elena, got any question? Where are you from?
Toronto.
Toronto. How long have you practiced meditation?
More than 10 years.
More than 10 years.
Mhm.
How far have you got?
How far?
We got a point to ask the question, are we exist or we are the illusion?
Well, your body is an illusion, but the one who controls the body is real.
Yes.
You are the master of the body. You're the one who's using the body to find happiness for you. But your body is a temporary thing, and you cannot rely on it forever. So whenever the body happens to become sick or dying, then you will not be able to use the body to find happiness for you. So you should switch from using the body and use meditation instead. Try to learn to meditate to calm yourself, your mind. Once your mind becomes calm and peaceful, then you'll find happiness within yourself. Then you won't need to use the body to be the means of getting happiness for you. Okay?
Is happiness is illusion, or how to look at the happiness?
Your question come in, your voice coming on and off. I couldn't. Can you repeat what you say?
Talking about happiness, is it happiness is illusion, or is it how to look at the happiness? Is a peace of mind? Is a thought? Of the happiness? It's part of the illusion.
Happiness are real feelings that you feel right now. Right now, I think you just feel the neutral feeling. And there are three types of feeling that you feel all the time: either good feeling, or bad feeling, or neutral feeling. They are real, but they are not permanent. They are not constant. Keep changing from one feeling to the next, depending on the input that you receive from your sensory organs, such as your eyes, ears, nose, tongue, and body. When you receive this sensory stimuli, you start to have different kind of feelings. Sometimes you have good feeling from what you see and from what you hear. Sometimes you have bad feeling from what you see and what you hear. They are real, but they are temporary. They come and go, changing all the time. The purpose is to understand their nature. Our purpose is to understand their nature and don't try to cling to them. You have to let them come and go. Our problem is we want to cling to the good feeling, and when they disappear, it makes you sad or unhappy. But if you understand the nature of feelings and know that they come and go, and don't cling to them, when they disappear, then you won't feel sad or unhappy. And you are happy right now together. Maybe tomorrow one of you have to go somewhere else, and both of you have to be alone. Okay. If you understand the nature, then you will not cling to the good feeling that you get from being together, because you won't have it anymore. One of you has to go somewhere else. Have a different set of feelings arise. You just have to learn to live with this different new set of feelings. Then you won't feel sad or unhappy. You can adjust your mind to the changing feelings, changing nature of feeling. Our problem is we cannot adapt with the changing nature of feeling. We tend to cling to one particular set of feelings. And when we cannot get it, then we become sad or unhappy. This is the purpose of meditation, to teach your mind, to train your mind, to accept the changing nature of feelings as they come and go, as they rise and cease.
feeling is a product of the mind. Is it correct? Or is it, what is a feeling? What?
It's a combination of many things. It happens in the mind, but it comes through the body. When you see things with your eyes, you have feelings from what you see. When you hear things with your ears, you have feelings from what you hear. Many things. But the mind is the one who experiences the feelings and react to those feelings. And by reacting, your mind, you're creating a problem for the mind, because sometimes you're reacting positively and sometimes you're reacting negatively. What we want to train the mind is not to react at all, to be aware of those feelings. Just know that they come and go, rise and cease. And don't try to react by clinging to them or trying to get rid of them. Let them come and go of themselves. You're just like a person in a movie theater. Just watch the movie. You cannot manage the images that you see on the screen. All you can do is just accept them for what they are. Just watch and don't react to what you see on the screen. Because it doesn't change anything on the screen. It can only cause emotional upheaval in yourself when you react to what you see on the screen. Okay? Good enough? I don't see, just see Michelle's iPad on my screen. Okay.
Looks like Prashant might have a question.
Okay, question? Go
Ajahn,
ahead. Please go ahead.
yeah, Ajahn, so you mentioned about like I've been practicing for many years now, and you mentioned about gauging the progress. Sometimes I feel like when I practiced in the beginning year, I achieve much more deeper state of concentration without expectation than currently, because now I'm making an effort. I get the feeling of the happiness you talk about, but I just kind of dip it and then I come back. So keeps my practice, sustained, keep going, looking forward to it. But when I went in my first retreat, and then I had like very, very deeper and longer state of concentration. And so when you ask about how you gauge the progress of your practice, what should be the parameters you're talking about? Like, is it peace you feel, how mindful you are in your actions now? So what are the parameters based on that you like we can judge our at least progress?
There are many different ways you can gauge your progress. You can gauge it by whether you are happier than before or not. You can also gauge whether you can control your emotion more or not. You can control your anger. You control your cravings, your desires. These are some of the parameters that you can gauge your practice, whether you are moving forward or not. And you can also gauge by your reaction, whether you have less reaction or you still have more reaction to what you come into contact with. The more you can remain still, if you are advancing forward, and keep your mind calm and to reacting to what you come into contact with. But it doesn't mean you don't react at all. When you don't react emotionally or by impulse, you react with rationality. When you say something, you have to consider first the purpose of saying what you want to say and the goal of achieving that. what you want from saying. So this is something that to tell you whether you are going forward, you are advancing in your practice. Okay. I see Amy C here on the screen, just a letter without the picture. Okay, here you are. How are you, Amy?
I'm good. Thank
Are you
you.
from Toronto also?
I don't have a question.
I asked you, where are you from?
Oh, I'm from Washington, D.C. I'm a student of Dr. Robert Ryan.
Good, good. So you just want to listen for now.
Yeah, right now I do. If I think of a question, I'll write it on my chat.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, Ban.
Thank you for showing yourself. Okay, anybody else would like to ask any question? Nirani? You want to ask anything? Deborah? I see Deborah on the screen.
Ajahn, I have a question. You mentioned about this feeling and emotions. So how can we is the feeling and emotions are the same thing or different?
Just how you define them. According to Buddhism, we define feeling as good or bad feeling, neutral feeling, and they come through the sensory organs. We call Vedana. It's one of the four Namakhandas. This comes from the body, through the body. When your body receives stimuli from and enter your sensory organs, such as your eyes or your ears. When you hear something, when you see something, then you will automatically feel something, good or bad or neutral. By emotion, we tend to talk about the mind itself. This comes from the mind. When you think of something, you can become emotionally happy or you can become emotionally sad. So, but they are more or less like identical twins. So you don't really have to worry which one is which. All you have to do is know how to deal with them. The way to know how to deal with them is to understand their nature. The nature are the same. They have these three characteristics as their nature: impermanent, causing harm or suffering, and they are not under your control. They're part of the natural phenomena. The natural phenomena has other factors that influence them to arise and cease. And so if you understand these three characteristics, then you will let go of them. Just not trying to manage them, not trying to manipulate them. You just try to learn to live with them as they come along. So, because what is best for the mind is to be still, is to be non-reactive. We have ubekkha, being neutral, just being aware of what's going on and what's happening, but do not react either positively or negatively or in between. Just be aware of what you come across. In order to have this type of mind, you need to meditate. That's the reason why we meditate, to get the mind into this neutral state in which it doesn't react, just being aware. We call this the fourth jhana, which you have the ubekkha, as the quality of the mind. Ubekkha means you have no emotion, no hate, no love, hate, fear, or delusion. Temporarily, not permanently. It's only nibbana when you can have this permanent, uh, permanent state of mind in which it has no love, hate, fear, or delusion. But this comes after you have developed wisdom inside meditation, and you truly see the true nature of all things that you come into contact with, and being able to just let go of them. And your mind will then be empty, void, has no emotion, doesn't react, has no love, hate, delusion, or fear. This is the two steps of meditation. The first step, you use concentration to calm your mind, to bring it into the to bring it to a neutral state of being aware and not reacting with love, hate, fear, or delusion. And once you have established this state, and you want to maintain it, but after you come out of meditation, by using wisdom or insight, by understanding the three characteristic nature of all things that you come into contact with. So then you can then disengage yourself from everything and not cling or have any attachment toward them. But you can still deal with them, still in a detached manner. You can take it or leave it. You don't insist that you have to keep it if you like it. Because you know the nature of things that you cannot keep everything, even how much you like it. Sooner or later, you will have to give it up. Right? You need to practice this first concentration meditation or mindfulness meditation. Focus on an object, such as your breath when you're sitting down and meditate. And if you're moving around, you can use your body as your object of meditation. Keep just watching what you're doing to prevent your mind from running around thinking about everything or nothing. Just to try to keep the mind empty of thoughts. Just try to maintain a bare awareness. Just be aware of what you do. Because in order to meditate successfully, you have to stop your thoughts. So when you come and sit, meditate, then you will have the mindfulness, the concentration to focus on your breath. Keep watching your breath to prevent you from thinking about everything. And if you can do this, eventually your mind will drop into calm. It's like falling from a high place. And your mind will become empty, light, and easy, and happy. The duration of this state depends on the strength of your mindfulness or concentration. When you begin, you usually have a brief encounter with this state, this kanika samadhi, briefly. But as you advance in your practice, as you increase your mindfulness and meditation, your concentration, then you can remain longer in this state of calm. We call this appana samadhi, the type of samadhi, kanika samadhi and appana samadhi. There is also the third type of samadhi called Upajjhara samadhi. This is the samadhi that once you have entered into calm, your mind doesn't remain still, doesn't remain fixed. You start to wander around in the spiritual realms. We call this type of samadhi, Upajjhara samadhi, as the psychic type of samadhi. This is where people can access to recollection of past lives. They can connect with the spiritual beings. They can read the mind of other people. These are the third type of samadhi, which The Buddha does not recommend for people who want to attain Nibbana, because this is the distraction and it can prevent the meditator from achieving Nibbana and become stuck with this type of power, this psychic power, and using this psychic power to glorify itself, to make it profitable, somehow using this psychic power as a means of occupation for constant. So you don't want to go through that route. If you have that psychic power, you should try to restrain it and try to keep the mind concentrated in the neutral state by using your concentrating power on your mindfulness. And when you come out of your meditation, you want to move to the next type of meditation, the vipassana type of meditation. This is the learning type of meditation. This is where you want to learn the three characteristics of existence. Apply it to everything that you come into contact with, such as the body of yourself or the body of other people. They are all impermanent. They rise and eventually they will cease. The body take birth and it will grow up, then it will get old, get sick and die. Everybody, not just your body. And same thing with feelings. Feelings come and go. Sometimes good feelings, sometimes bad feelings, sometimes neutral feelings. And emotion also changes. Sometimes you feel good, you feel happy. Sometimes you feel sad. Sometimes you are depressed. Sometimes you are ecstatic. Sometimes you are calm. Sometimes you are restless and agitated. These are the changing nature of the mind. And you will have to learn to be aware and leave them alone. You can only be aware if you have a neutral mind with upekkha. Because if you don't, you will normally react. When you feel bad, you want to get rid of it. When you feel good, you want to hang on to it. You want to maintain it, keeping it going. But when you cannot do it, then you become sad and disappointed. And if you know that they come and go and don't expect anything from them, so when they come or when they go, you won't feel anything. You will still remain calm, peaceful, and happy. So this is what we want to do in our practice of meditation. Okay? I'll give time to other people. Anybody wants to ask anything? Or do you want participant?
I have questions, but I'll keep for some other opportunities.
Marcos, first of all, can you tell us where you're from?
We're from Brazil.
From Brazil.
Yeah.
Okay.
Quite far.
Did you attend the last meeting with Ajahn Mudito?
Yes, we were there.
We are there.
Okay.
Mm.
So we don't have to translate into Portuguese today.
No.
We should both understand English.
Yeah, we should try. We will make an effort, but we'll try.
Okay. You got any question?
Yeah, I have a few, but I'll just ask some two if possible today. One is very short. It's do you know any lay women who has at least reached the stream entry stage? So this is the first.
According to the forest tradition, we have one nun, woman. She was the disciple of Ajahn Man. She met Ajahn Man when she was a young girl. Ajahn Man taught her how to meditate. And after Ajahn Man passed away, she took up Ajahn Mahabua as a teacher. Her name is Mechi Gal. I think you might have seen her biography. If you haven't, you can go into Ajahn Mahaburu's website and download the book. And she is considered to be an arahant, a noble person. She has attained to Nibbana. There is also another lady. She wasn't ordained as a Mechi. She is just the 8th preceptor. And she was also revered as a noble person. Her name is called Khao Sun Luang. But she's not with the forest tradition. But she was well known among meditators. And back to there. Both of them passed away many years now, 10 or 20 years or so. Okay, your second question.
My second question is, I've been thinking of like the restriction of the senses, and one thing that I was thinking was that if I just keep away from something that makes me feel like something I'm attached to, would this attachment just disappear by distance by developing a new habit of not having that attachment in my life? Like if the longer I stay away from that object, the more like most likely I would be to overcome this attachment? Or is it just like is it like a time process? The longer I stay away, the more results I can get? Or is it just like I'm giving my mind the opportunity to try and work out my issues without that object? Don't know, and I would just overcome it myself. The time wouldn't be a matter. Does that make sense?
Yes. I think there are two steps really in dealing with things you want to detach from. First, you can use the time of the separation to be away from the things that you want to detach from. But this is a temporary measure because after you come back, your attachment might arise again. You need the second step, which is to see the three characteristics in the thing that you are attached to. See that the thing that you are attached to is an impermanent thing. Eventually, that thing or that person will either die or whatever happened to it. Secondly, they can make you unhappy. They can cause you suffering. You have to see this nature. Because by separation, it makes you feel unhappy. So if you see it by clinging to them, when you cling to them, you're happy. But eventually, you know that there will be separation. When there is separation, then there will be unhappiness or sadness. And this is the second characteristic, to see dukkha or sadness in the thing that you cling to make you happy. And thirdly, you have to see the anatta nature of this thing or this person, and you cannot control them all the time. You cannot give them to be with you all the time. Sooner or later, they change or they go away. So if you can see the three characteristics in that thing that you try to detach, then you will detach permanently. Because you see it with wisdom or insight. You see that that thing or that person is harmful to you, not good for you. You have to see the dukkha in that person, the dukkha that they can cause you. Once you see that, it's like when you see poison. You know a drink is poison. If you drink and you'll die, you won't touch it. If you don't know, and you might say, oh, it's a good drink, it tastes good. When you drink it, you die, but it's too late already. We have to see everything as poison. People, things, anything. Now eventually will cause you suffering sooner or later, because they cannot always give you happiness, because they change. The person next to you can be bad to you tomorrow. It doesn't feel good. They might say something bad to you, and the happiness that you get from him will change into sadness. So if you don't want to have any sadness from him, then you have to stay away from him. Stay alone, live alone. Understand? In order to be able to do this, you need to meditate, calm your mind to the point where you might become neutral. If not, then you cannot, because you might keep desiring, keep craving for him. Even though you know he's bad to you sometimes, but not all the time. But if you can meditate to the point where you have ubekkha, then you can stand alone and be happy. You don't have to rely on him to make you happy. Okay? Understand? Okay, we'll go to the next person. If anybody wants to ask any question.
Ajahn
Okay,
Suchart, it's
please go ahead.
yeah, it's nice to see you. It's been a long time since I've seen you.
See, I don't recognize you. Did you come to Thailand before?
Yeah, I was ordained with Luang Pu Uthai in Thailand.
Not in Thai, yes.
Yeah,
How long ago? How long ago?
I ordained there, I guess, 6 years ago.
See.
I came to see you about 6 years ago with Anita.
Okay.
But I disrobed about 1 year ago, and I still have like a lot of grief and depression about disrobing, and find it very difficult to find meaning and purpose in my life now. So I want to ask Luang Pu's advice, if he can give me some advice how to kind of let go of the life of the monk and find meaning in the lay life.
Well, you have to continue on with the practice as a lay person. You cannot practice as a monk, and you practice as a lay person, because this is the only way to fulfill your need, your spiritual need. Without it, you will never be happy. You can be a rich man, you can be a prime minister, or be whatever you want, but you will feel empty inside. So you should continue on with your practice as a monk, as before, and just maybe with less intensity. Maybe being a monk is just too much for you to handle. You might change from being a professional and becoming an amateur first. Come back to become an amateur and practice when you will have the time to practice. But you will have to also work and to support your life. And on your spare time, rather than spend it on entertainment or holiday or socializing, you should maybe spend it as a monk, even maybe briefly during the weekend or when you're free from working. Then you will salvage some of the things that you have lost when you were a monk.
I have one more question. Thank you. When I practice, since for a couple of years now, I start to hear voices from my meditation, and then I hear them all the time. And maybe a couple of months ago, I went to do a meditation retreat for the first time since I disrobed, a 10-day course. And I noticed the voices become much, much more when I commit myself to meditation. Like if I do a 1-day course, 1 day of sitting, or 10 days of sitting, then the voices become very
Vocal.
yeah,
Louder.
very, very vocal. Yeah. I wonder if Ajahn Suchart has a recommendation for how he can overcome them.
Just ignore it. It's the creation of your mind, the defilement. You cannot stop it. So you just have to learn to live with it. Don't pay any attention. When you meditate, just concentrate on your meditation object. And just consider your bad karma or your pain, your bad karma, or experiencing this distraction. And as you meditate, as your concentration becomes stronger and stronger, and this thing will gradually disappear. So don't try to do anything. The more you try, it will create more suffering for you because you cannot do anything. All you have to do is just to ignore and live with it. And eventually it will not bother you. Okay?
Thank you.
All right. Aaron, Yukich, you want to say anything?
Hi, Tanajan. Is my audio working? I can't tell.
Yes, I can hear you. Okay, I can see
Okay.
you or something.
Great. I have a question about contemplating emotions. So for someone that's not able to get into really deep absorption, but is able to experience the way emotions feel in the body and see their changing nature and see the suffering in them, is contemplation in that way effective?
When you contemplate on emotion, the purpose is not to let emotion overtake you. You just have to separate yourself from the emotion. There's no emotions come and go like visitors. And don't try to let them overwhelm you, direct you to do things. You should be able to remain still and not react to any of the emotions.
And would it be fair to say that in developing that practice of not reacting and seeing the impersonal quality of the emotions, does that help lessen their influence over time?
Yes, eventually they're just like anything that you attach to. Once you no longer give them any credence, and then you'll eventually have no bearing on you, no effect on you. You're the one who gives them the credence or the importance, which makes them important. If you no longer care for them, then they don't mean anything to you anymore. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Amy Jalili, where are you from? Or you just turn off your video. You have to turn on your video and your microphone.
Instead of the volume. Yes. Hello, how are you?
Good.
I have a question. It's regarding my own practice. Lately, I've been home and I had a lot of time, so I don't have so much emotional turbulence from outside. So whatever I have, it's from just my own little surrounding. And I feel my concentration is becoming somehow something new to me. Every time I close my eyes, I have visions popping, like random vision, has no reference to my daily life or past life or anything. And it's just very vivid colors, vivid scenes, and very quiet and serene, but very vivid. And every time I start to meditate also, I feel my mind start planning. So I've learned now just to be awake and I have no thoughts coming and no planning. But as soon as I want to meditate, the mind starts planning. But I can just sit like this for 3 hours without thinking too much or doing anything. So am I doing the right? Pardon?
you have to concentrate when you meditate. You cannot just sit and then let the mind takes over. You have to take over the mind by concentrating on either a mantra or watching your breath, or even chanting some verses in order to keep your mind busy. If you don't do anything, then your mind will start creating all these images.
It's like the images are like, it's very peaceful images, but I have no idea. It's like it's keep recurring the same sceneries. Like it's and it doesn't involve any people or faces. It's just nature. But it's like, for example, like one of them is like a pond of water, and I can see all the movement of the water, all the waves, and all of the events. Like, you know, it's, and I'm like, okay, what am I going to do with this information? You know, it's keep repeating itself.
You have to ignore them. You have to ignore them.
Yes.
Have distraction. There's nothing you can do about it. You cannot force them to go away. The only way to let them disappear is to concentrate on something. Concentrate on your breath, concentrate on a mantra, or concentrate on your chanting. You have to be patient. It might take a while before you can calm and concentrate your mind. In the meantime, it will be like a tug of war. Sometimes these images will come back and disappear and then come back again. So you just have to keep on concentrating on your meditation object. And eventually, if you persist, and when your mind becomes calm, then it will become empty and peaceful and happy.
That was also my dilemma, because when I am not meditating, it's very peaceful, and as soon as I want to meditate, it becomes more agitated. So it's like that.
That's because of your defilements. The defilement doesn't want to be controlled. So when you're not meditating, your defilement can still do something in the background.
Yes.
But when you meditate, your defilement cannot do anything.
Sorry.
Creating all these distractions for you.
Yes. I'm sorry.
This feeling, that's your roommate?
Yes, just came from the Cajun.
What's her name or his name?
Maybe.
Maybe.
Yes. Sorry.
How are you, baby?
I think he just made a small sound, but
I think he wants to join the meeting.
I think so. I think now he hears me talking. He thinks I am talking to the birds, so that's why he got interested.
Okay. Does this satisfy your question?
It does, like, because I also see a lot of people, they say when they meditate they get more angry and they get more frustrated. So it's like I had a case of my own brother. The mindfulness was making him more crazy. So like, and then he starts doing arts and everything. He was actually calmer in doing the art than the actual meditation. So I'm thinking, like, where is the line to the discernment to what to do?
The calm that you get from when you're not meditating is very minimal.
Yes.
Compared to the calm that you will get from meditation. So it's kind of like of I can't think of the word, a delusion or something to deceive you to be happy with not meditating.
Yes.
It's actually what we call the trick of the defilement. They try all sort of tricks to prevent you from doing meditation.
Yes.
Because they don't like meditation, because meditation to them is like prison. See? They don't want to go into prison.
Yes.
As soon as you start to sit and then concentrate, you're actually putting your defilements into a cage. It's like the parrots. If it's outside the cage, it's happy, right?
Actually, he picks wherever he wants to be. Like I have no control over his whereabouts. Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Because it learned to live in the cage, so it's okay with it to go into the cage. But for us, our mind has not learned to live in the cage. So every time we put the mind into the cage, it reacts strongly.
Yes.
It makes you feel uneasy, uncomfortable, unpleasant, and all sort of this sort of bad feeling will arise from meditation when you start. So you have to be patient and just have to ignore them and try to concentrate on your meditation object.
Yes.
It's the only way of overcoming all this distraction.
Do you suggest any mantra?
Well, in Thailand we use Bhutto, name of the Buddha. Bhutto, Bhutto, but it's just a name. You can maybe use anything. Hare Krishna if you're Hindu.
Yes.
If you're
No.
Christian, you can use Jesus. If you're Christian, Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. Anything to concentrate the mind, to keep the mind busy,
Yes.
prevent it from creating all this distraction. That's all. That's the purpose of a mantra.
Yes.
You can chant. If you know some chanting, you can chant. But please do it not verbally, but mentally.
Yes.
Mantra, the same thing. Try to do it mentally, not verbally. Because you don't want to use the body. You want to leave the body alone.
Yes.
Okay?
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right. Nice talking to you.
Thank you very much.
Anybody else?
Yes, Ajahn Suchart.
Me from San Francisco.
I ask.
Hello. I lost your voice. Cannot hear you.
I would like to ask.
Who's talking right now?
It's yes, Toronto.
Okay, go ahead.
I would like to ask if our life is illusion. Everything around us is illusion. The previously you said we watch a movie of our life with the good actors, friends, relatives. And please explain to me what is the time on this illusion line. How can I consider the time in this illusion?
This illusion is like a dream. The only way to know that you're dreaming is when you awake. It's what the Buddha calls himself an awakened one. You have to be awakened from this illusion, from this dream. And the way to do it is to meditate. See? You meditate, you pull your mind away from the body, the one that goes into the realm of illusion. So when you can disconnect the mind from the body, then the mind becomes awakened. And then realizes that everything that it experiences through the body was just an illusion. But this meditation is experiences briefly. So once you understand that life is an illusion, the next thing is you want to use wisdom to teach your mind to let go of this illusion permanently. By seeing this illusion as anicca, dukkha, anatta, impermanent, causing suffering, and has no self. See what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So you have to wake up by meditation. When you meditate, you become awakened. You come to be separated from the body temporarily. And you know that everything, all the experiences that you have through your body, it's just a temporary experience.
Mm-hmm.
Once they disappear, they're gone. They're like dreams. And you keep continuing living with your dreams. Only time you awaken is when you meditate. After you have meditated and you understand that all the experiences that you get through your body is an illusion, so when you come out of your meditation, you have to constantly pinch yourself by using wisdom or insight to tell yourself that everything that is going on with you, with your body, and with everybody else, it's just an illusion. And just a dream. It's a temporary situation.
Mhm.
Sooner or later, when the body stops working, then that's the end of the dream, end of the delusion. Just one chapter of it, because the mind, if it still uses the body to give it happiness, it will go look for a new body and start a new dream, start a new illusion. So you have to stop your cravings, and causing your mind to go after a body, to use the body to get happiness for you. Once you can stop the three cravings, the cravings for sensual desire, sensual gratification, craving for being, and craving for not being. Once you have entirely, completely get rid of these cravings from your mind, then your mind will become empty, and it can exist by itself as an awakened permanently. Okay.
Mhm. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
So much.
Want to say next? Amy from San Francisco. You have to turn on your microphone. Oh, Dennis Hale wants to say something first.
Dennis, did you want to go first?
You want to go first? Okay, go ahead.
Hi, Ajahn. Nice to meet
Hi.
you. I'm Ivan. I'm from Toronto. My question is about maintaining the discipline and steadiness of a practice. I notice that when I am on a positive streak, both with spiritual practice and in life in general, something will come up that I engage in behaviors that sabotage the momentum that I've developed. And it's a recurring thing where I go up, so to speak, and then I do something to bring myself back down. I'm just wondering if there's any advice to help maintain and build that momentum without
Yes, you have to maintain social distancing. You have to be away from people and things. Then they won't interrupt your practice. But if you still have to engage with people and things, and they can interrupt your path. So try to
Distance from your mind.
stay alone for as much as possible when you can.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, now Amy and JC from San Francisco. Welcome. How are you?
We're fine. Thank you, Long Paul. I think JC has a question. Before JC asks you his question, Long Paul, how are things at the Wat? Is everything open?
Right now they're open for the lay people to come and stay in the monastery, but not on the mountain. The mountain is still blocked, still not open. Below where the monastery, women can come and stay in the monastery, or men and women, lay people, for 7 days at a time, right before.
Thank you. You want to go ahead?
Okay.
Yeah,
JC.
how are you, Long Paul? I have a question regarding, so there we're able to, I'm able to practice and sit and meditate and find peace and see the nature of things. Is there a way that we can test the strength of our practice and see our progression?
Well, one thing to watch for is the easiness that you find in your practice. If you're advancing, then you'll find that practicing is easier as you go along. Less struggle than before, and have more calm, and you have more inspiration, more energy to do the practice. If you still find yourself struggling every time you sit, meditate, means you're not advancing.
Okay.
There are many things you can look at to gauge your practice. Like I answered some of them before. This is another way of looking at your practice. If you find your practice is easier and you achieve the result a lot quicker than before, you are advancing. Instead of calming your mind in half an hour, you might be able to calm it in 15 minutes once. Eventually, you should be able to calm your mind within 5 minutes. As soon as you start concentrating on your breath, your mind should become calm in about 5 minutes. So, and then you can stay there for maybe 45 minutes or an hour afterward. Okay?
Okay.
All right.
Thank you, Long Pa.
Naomi?
If that's okay, I do have another question.
All right with me.
So I do find that I'm progressing and that I can become calm more often than before, and I can meditate more. I do also find that the progress is very incremental, very, very, very gradual, and that if I push myself too much, then I just get stressed and I have to take a break for a little while before I can start again. And so I guess I just feel, you know, I would want to attain this stage of Sotapan in this life, but I'm doubting that I'll have enough time in this life. So I feel like, well, okay, if I don't attain it in this life, at least I'll have created some causes for it to happen in future lives. I was just wondering if you had any advice about that, or?
Yes. So you have to alternate your practice between concentration and wisdom. You only concentrate on your concentration practice. This can be temporary because concentration can come and go, and then your practice will go back and forth. But you want to keep your practice more or less to develop wisdom or insight. You have to contemplate the nature of the five khandha, namely your body and your mind. You have to see that body and your mind is impermanent. Body eventually has to die. Your mind, which is the feeling and thought, they arise and cease, they come and go. You keep changing. They may not completely be destroyed, but they cannot be under your control. Sometimes you have good feelings, sometimes you have bad feelings, sometimes you have good thoughts, sometimes you have bad thoughts. You just have to teach your mind to let go, not to live with them, accept them for what they are. Accept the body for what it is. If it's gonna get old, let it get old. If it's gonna get sick, let it get sick. If it's gonna die, let it die. If you can do this, I think Sotapanna is not very far from the grasp. But it has to happen in real time, not by imagination, but not by thinking. Some people say, "Oh, I'm not afraid of aging, sickness, and death." This is just not real time. You have to actually face aging, sickness, and death, and then to be able to let go and to be able to calm your mind. For instance, I'll give you an example. You go to see a doctor because you have some pain in your body, and after some diagnosis, the doctor says you have stage 3 cancer. And you have to look at your mind and see how it reacts. If you say, okay, this is natural, the body's gonna have to get sick and die, and you don't feel any sadness or fear, then you pass the test. And if you're worried and you still don't want the body to die, you still want the body to get well, then you fail the test. Let go of your body and your feeling. Okay, so this is the goal if you want to become a Sotapanna. Try to teach your mind to accept aging, sickness, and death of your body. Like constantly contemplating on the nature of the body. When you come out of your meditation, when you face death in real time, face sickness in real time, then you will see whether you can pass the test or not. Okay, it's not that difficult because you're not dying with the body, but your delusion keep telling you that you are the body. So you want to keep reminding yourself that you are not the body. You are the one who used the body, but not the body. You're like the puppet master. The body is like a puppet, like a dog. You're the owner of the dog. Let the dog die, let the dog get sick. If you can fix it, fix it. But if you cannot fix it, then let it go. Let it happen. But you shouldn't feel sad about it. Okay? In order for you not to feel sad when you face these things, you have to have ubeka. You have to do a lot of concentration meditation. To have your mind have ubeka, to non-reactive, have no love, hate, and toward the things that you're involved with. Okay?
So when I sit and meditate, I should try to develop, because I don't have full calm. I mean, I feel that I'm getting better and calmer states of mind, but it's not upeka.
That's full 100% yet.
Mm-hmm.
Concentrating. When you meditate, don't use your thought, don't use wisdom or vipassana. Try to concentrate your mind on just one object in order to unite it, to become one, to become singular, to be merely knowing. So you need to concentrate on one object, such as a mantra or the breath. But after you have come out of your meditation, then you want to use vipassana. You want to keep reminding the mind that the body is not yourself. You are the master. You are the master of your body. Your body is like a pet, like a dog, and you're the owner of the pet. You look after the body like an owner of a pet, but you don't have any emotional attachment to the body, because you know that by having attachment or emotional attachment, you're gonna hurt you when anything happens to the body. You have no attachment, then when anything happens to the body, it will not hurt you. Because you are the mind, you come from the mind, not from the body. You're the one who look after the body. So now you want to learn to stop using the body. But the more you use the body, then the more you become attached to it. So you don't use the body to get happiness for you. Every time you want to have happiness, go into meditation instead. Rather than go and have a cup of coffee or watch television or whatever. Say, oh, I better meditate. Because then I don't have to rely on coffee, on movies, the body. I can use meditation to make me happy. Then in that way you can gradually let go of your body. Because you don't have to depend or rely on your body to get your happiness. Clear enough?
Yes,
okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Nobody seems to say anything. Anybody want to say something?
Ajahn.
Okay, go ahead. It's 10:15, so we're about 1 hour and 15 minutes into our meeting. Okay, go ahead. Just want to look at the time. Please go ahead.
Yeah, Ajahn, you mentioned about the insight, and Buddha's the biggest insight was dependent origination, cause and effect.
No, that's not insight. That's just understanding of the working of the mind. Insight is the three characteristics is the insight. We tend to forget that everything is impermanent. Your house is impermanent. Your job is impermanent. Everything you own is impermanent. You don't think in that terms. But when you lose them, you feel sad. See? And you think ahead of time, know ahead of time that everything that you own is impermanent. And you try to prepare your mind for it. When things happen, then you don't feel sad. Because you know this is gonna happen. This is what you want to instill insight into your mind. Teaching your mind that everything that you own, that you have, and you know they are all impermanent. They are not yourself. They don't belong to you. One day, sooner or later, you will lose them all. But you know this, then you prepare yourself, prepare your mind to meet the eventuality. And you will not be hurt when things happen. Because you try to learn to live without having anything. Because by having anything, you become dependent on them. And when you lose them, they can make you unhappy, sad. But if you don't have to rely on anything, then you don't have anything to lose. When you have nothing, you have nothing to lose. And as soon as you have something, then you will have to lose that something when you have it. This is insight. See that everything is impermanent. Nothing belongs to you. And when things happen, they can hurt you, make you sad, make you feel terrible.
Then another, Ajahn, then how do you take karma? You know, like how is your action and reaction? So are you responsible for your actions, or are you responsible for your intentions? So how should we understand karma?
Karma is the result of your mind still having cravings. When your mind has cravings, your mind will get into action. You want something, you want to go get it. And there are two ways of getting by good karma or by bad karma. By stealing, then you are doing bad karma. By working and earning money and to pay for what you want, this is not bad karma. But when you no longer have any cravings or any desire, then you won't have to do any karma because you can live without anything. Or not live if you have to. For instance, if your body should be in a situation where you cannot feed your body, but then you just let it starve, that's all. And your mind will not be hurt by the starvation of your body. So the mind doesn't have to do any action. Once you get rid of all your cravings from your mind. If any action is only not because you have to do it, you only do it just for the sake of doing it. And then this will have no effect on your karma. This kind of karma doesn't have any effect on your mind. Okay, like the Buddha, after his enlightenment, he still eats, he still do things, but he doesn't do it with cravings. So all his actions are just bear no result toward the mind. It doesn't cause the mind to be happy or sad. Unlike our karma, when we do things, our karma make us feel good or bad. When we do bad karma, we feel bad. When we do good karma, we feel good. But with an enlightened person, he doesn't do it with craving. He does it out of necessity, not out of desire or craving. So that has no bearing on his mind. His action has no bearing on his mind. Okay?
Thank you, Ajahn.
So if you still have craving and if you still have to do karma, the Buddha say, do good karma, avoid doing bad karma. By keeping the precept once, and you can avoid doing bad karma. And by being charitable, by helpful, doing things for other people, make other people happy, and you are doing good karma. When you do good karma, you feel good. You do bad karma, you feel bad. And this good and bad karma accumulates in your mind and takes effect after you die, after your body dies. And this good and bad karma kick in again and give you good or bad feeling again as when you are a spiritual being. Okay?
Thank you.
Anybody else? I see a lot of people when they don't show up, they just have their name on the screen.
Ajahn?
Yes, please.
Aaron here again. Being that you come from a forest tradition and, you know, there's a lot to be said of living in seclusion in the forest where it's quiet and peaceful. Is there anything else you can say about what nature has to teach us about Dhamma? About, you know, is there contemplation that can be done in the forest that is of benefit to the practice?
Well, if you look at everything, whether nature or otherwise, they all have the three characteristics. Trees, they have the three characteristics. They rise and cease. They don't belong to anybody. They're part of the nature. They're part of nature. So we don't tend to cling or attach to them. But with people, we tend to have this different perception. We look at people as human, as a self, content in this body. But actually, this body is just like a tree. So maybe by staying in the forest, then you might be able to use the perception of trees toward other people. When you look at people and say, oh, they're just like trees in the forest. And you can then lessen your attachment toward them.
Just to add to that question, so as a hobby, and I've done a little bit of work in the past, I do photography, and I do a fair amount of nature photography and photography in the forest and such. And I would like to use that skill as a way to share with others, but to share in a meaningful way. Do you think that, you know, for the average person that may not have any sort of spiritual practice or understanding of the three characteristics, could I use, you know, photography and the impermanence of, you know, what happens in the forest and you know, the decay and the cycle of life as a way to connect with the general public?
That's right. You can do that. Like when you take a picture of a flower, you usually take it when it's in full bloom and it's beautiful. But you should also take that picture when it becomes wilted, so that people can see the two sides of life. Like there's a song you probably heard in the 60s, we call Both Sides Now. And Judy Collins. Have you heard of the song Both Sides Now?
I haven't.
You have to look it up and down. Look at the clouds, look it up and down.
Okay.
You have both the sunny side of the clouds and the dark side of the clouds. Everything in life. They all like them. But we tend to look only on one side. We attach to the positive or the beautiful side of life. And we try to turn away the other side of life, the bad side of life. So when we have to face it, we cannot face it. And if we keep looking at both sides, and we become more or less what you call adapted, attuned to reality. And when we see the other side of life, we won't have any bad feeling toward it. Because you know this is what's going to happen. You can use this photography, take two sides of the story. Don't tell only one side of the story. Tell the beautiful side and also tell the bad side. You might take a picture of a beautiful girl, and then you should take a picture of an old lady, for instance, or a dying lady in the hospital. And people can then, you can educate them this way. I wonder if they will buy your books or not. That's probably don't like to buy your books.
Well, at least it would be a service.
Yeah, you just have to do it for service, community service. If you expect to make a living out of it, then you probably go broke. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I don't want to look at the bad side of life. The only way to be able to do it is after you have meditation, after you have calm your mind, to a neutral state. Then you can more or less force your mind to look at the unpleasant side of life. Because normally your defilement will prevent you from looking at the unpleasant side of life. It always pull you toward the pleasant side of life. So that's why you have to first do concentration meditation to neutralize your mind first. Once your mind becomes neutralized, then you can then use this neutralized mind to look at the other side of life. Okay, this is the importance of the two types of meditation. Mindfulness or concentration mindfulness to neutralize your mind. Once your mind becomes neutralized, then you can teach the mind the other side of life. Negative or the unpleasant side of life. To program it to accept it. Once the mind can accept the negative side or the unpleasant side of life, then then it won't suffer, it won't feel bad. Okay, everybody else? Ilani, you've been sitting here for a long time. Want to say anything? No, nothing. Okay. I think we met before, right? We had a Skype session once before. Okay.
I have one more question.
Please go ahead.
It's a very practical question. My brother is in the process of picking his wife and kind of deciding to get married. And I had a conversation with him the other day. It's like he's not a Dhamma person, and all he was talking, it was about his mind, what is practical, like deciding with his mind. And I was trying to tell him he has to decide with his heart. I know in a Dhamma way, like how can I educate somebody who is live in the Western world, who's totally thinking in terms of mind practicality, to kind of open up their heart and listen to their heart a little bit too.
Well, listening to the heart is not the answer either. Sometimes your heart is deluded.
Yes.
And your heart that you're listening to your delusion. You really have to look at the truth. Listen to the truth. And the truth is the three characteristics. Think of when you get married. A few weeks later, you get quarreled. You end up maybe deciding you want to split. Look at the stars in Hollywood. How long do they last with each relationship?
Yeah.
Maybe 1 year, maybe 6 months. That's what's going to happen. Tell him that. Can he take it? But when he's blind, he doesn't take it. He thinks his relationship's going to last forever. And it'll be rosy and beautiful.
This is not what my mother would like to hear for him. So she's been pushing him to get married for a long time. And now the lockdown has brought that settling in him. And and all he's deciding it is just with mind. Like, I mean, I know it's not an option for him to be a monk or to even be a Dhamma person. I think the marriage is part of his life. So for somebody like this, how they can make a better decision? It's not just based on practicality.
I guess you have to go through the experience yourself, learning by experience. Because no matter how much you say, they don't appreciate what you say more than what they actually experience themselves. Like someone who said that 1,000 words is not worth a single picture. You have to see it. You don't appreciate when people tell you what's going to happen. You have to read it yourself. Don't let him go on his way. You cannot stop.
Whatever way he chooses to go, yes.
Yes, this is karma. We all have our own karma, the Buddha said. Even ourselves, we're still walking on the delusional path. And sooner or later we're going to fall. And then I hope when you fall, you learn from it. That you have come on the wrong path, that you should follow the path of the Buddha.
Yes.
Instead.
But I see in people like how all the decisions, everything is so based on the ego. It's like there's that chapter is not open to them at all to kind of, they can leave the ego a little bit aside and just listen to something else within them. Like they don't have that education or that knowledge yet.
It's not the ego, it's the cravings that's driving us.
Yes.
We cannot just remain still and not doing anything. We have to see, we have to hear, we have to taste, we have to smell all the time in order to make us more or less happy. Even though briefly, we need something like this. They are like oxygen to our life. So you have to cut off these cravings. You could cut off these cravings, and you can stay alone, be yourself, and have nothing, and you can still be happy. This is where meditation comes in. Meditation will bring you to that point. Once you get to that point, then you can stop all your craving. And you don't have to have anything. You don't have to have a family. You don't have to have a husband or wife. You don't have to have children. You don't have to work. You don't have to have anything. And still be happier than a millionaire or a billionaire.
Yes. I mean, most people, they don't even know that option is out there.
And only when they meet the Buddha or his teaching or his representative.
Yes.
Otherwise, nobody would know it. I didn't know this before. When I was in America, I was going after the material life. But after my return and my disillusion, by seeing things as being impermanent, I still need to start looking for some other course. And I was happy that someone gave me the teaching of the Buddha, and a book to introduce me to his teaching. When I start reading it, I become hooked to his teaching. I look for more books, and eventually led me to the practice of meditation. And eventually led me to becoming a monk. And eventually led me to become a teacher telling you what to do.
Rightfully so. Thank you.
All right. You think we have engaged long enough? Does anybody?
Actually, Ajahn, so I had one question. I still am taking time off of work. And I've had that discomfort with the risks associated in my job because I work in healthcare and could be seeing people with COVID symptoms. But there's a part of me that's kind of looking at it as a possible opportunity to return to work and kind of take the challenge of the fear that comes up through like the possible risk of contracting the virus as an opportunity to just look at my fear of illness and death myself and kind of take it on as a challenge for myself. But then there's another option that I could take the time off work and just give that more for practice. Which one do you think would be more beneficial? What do you think?
Well, the whole point of practice is to prep yourself to face sickness and death.
Yeah.
So if you're not ready yet to face to take the test, then you might have to stay alone and develop that strength, that mental strength. Which I mean, ubeka. If you have enough ubeka, then you will have that the strength to take the test. Then you can go back to work, to face the people with the risk of taking the illness, the sickness.
Yeah.
And to prove to yourself that whether you can pass the test or not.
Yeah, there is part of me that's interested to return just kind of for the opportunity of seeing how my mind responds.
Okay,
But
you have to find it. You have to know yourself. Whether you have the strength to do it.
Yeah. Because I think if I return and just feel like it's throwing me off balance, like I could still just at that time choose to stop working again. But there is, part of me that's leaning towards just trying it again and seeing if I can keep my mind in balance.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this is something you have to decide for yourself. I cannot read your mind.
Thank you. I think Amy has a question.
Anita, you can finish. I can wait.
Oh, this was, I don't know if Ajahn, if you feel like sharing, but I was just curious about your own path of practice and if there were any certain challenges that you faced and how you worked to overcome them.
Yes, when you start practicing, you will know what you have to go through each step. So you have to take the test each step. First, you have to give up your late life. It's the first step. Before you can do this, you have to have some amount of strength in your mind from your meditation practice. If you have enough strength, you know that you can live like a monk, then you try to maybe live like a monk first. Not being a monk, but live as a lay person, keeping the 8 precepts and try to practice social distancing. And not meeting anybody, just to stay alone by yourself. See if you can do it for a certain amount of time. Once you feel confident, then you might feel that you can take up the road to become a monk. Once you become a monk, you know the next step is to develop enough mindfulness to get your mind into jhana. You get to the 4th jhana. Once you get to the 4th jhana, then you know you have to take the test. Sickness and death. Sickness means pain, so you have to learn to sit in meditation and face the pain. When your body becomes painful, you don't want to move it. You want to use your mind to learn to teach your mind to cope with the pain. Leave the pain alone. You can use the mindfulness method, concentrating on a mantra. When the body becomes very painful and you want to get up, for instance. Just keep continuing on with your mantra. You succeed, the mind can become calm and then the pain of the body will not disturb. And the next step, you want to use the insight, teaching your mind to understand the nature of pain. Pain is temporarily impermanent. They come and go. They are anatta. There's no self in pain. You cannot tell them to come or go. And they're just like the wind and the rain. You have to learn to accept them when they come. You have to accept them when they disappear. Meaning to just to leave them alone. If you can use this with wisdom, then your mind will no longer be afraid of pain. Every time you have pain, you say it's gonna rain. It's raining. You learn to live with the rain, just like you learn to live with the pain, then you learn to live with the rain. Once you know that pain is no problem to you, body pain. The next step, you want to let your body die. See if you can let go of your attachment to the body. You have to. I live in the forest, monastery, so at night I go out walking in the dark without using any torchlight. Let the fear arise from my own thoughts. So I might be stepping on a snake, I might running into some animals. And you use that moment to tell yourself, okay, if this is the time for the body to die, let it be. You can truly do it. Let the body be, and your mind will be disengaged from the body. Your mind will become, from fearful, becoming calm. All the fear will disappear. And you have willingly accept death. Willingly let the body go. Once you can do this, you will no longer have any fear of death or fear of pain. So these are the steps that you have to go through in your practice. According to the 4 Satipatthana Sutta, first you have to go through the body, let go of the body. You have to let go of your feeling. And after that, you have to let go of your emotions inside your mind in order to become completely free from all forms of suffering. This is basically what I did and what everybody has to do in order to become completely free from any kind of suffering. Okay?
Thank you.
I think we have, okay, 1 hour 42 minutes. Okay, that's about the right time for us to call this session to an end, okay? Anybody have any objection? This is a democratic society, right? What does the speaker or the moderator say? You're the one to decide.
Oh, no. Thank you so much. You're so generous with your time with us. And
I enjoy it. I enjoy talking to you and sharing my knowledge. I hope it's helpful in some ways. And if you don't feel satisfied, you want some more, maybe we can have another meeting in the future.
For sure. Thank you.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Happy to see you all, and I hope that you will advance in your practice. Be well and be happy.
Happy to see you.
Thank you, Tanajan.
Thank you, Tanajan.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Take care, everybody.
Thanks, Anita.
My pleasure. Nice to see everyone.
Thanks.
Anita too.
Thank you so much.
Anita and Robert too.